Okay, so when I'm making a copy of these SPED Read Naturally forms, remember we've got the Google form where you're going to be able to put in the students' names, the book level, the cold read and hot read, total words read, and the total words read correctly, and then the total words that were in the passage they read. And eventually we're going to get that into a spreadsheet where you can see the averages for different students at different levels and track that over time. To make copies of these, we don't want to make copies inside of this folder where you can see both of them because it'll make it in the same folder. So if you're taking it from this spot, you're probably making a copy of it out of the public folder. And so you want to go into the actual form, go up to make a copy right here. And you want to make this into a different, so you probably want to title it differently so you don't have a bunch of copy of, depending on how this gets shared out. And then you're going to want to change the folder that it goes into. So right now, if you make a copy, it's going to end up in the same folder that it started in, which is my public folder. Or, if you're copying it from someone else who shared it to you, then it's going to end up in their folder. So you're going to want to back all the way out of these files and go to My Drive and then decide where you want to put it into. So maybe I'm going to put it in my projects folder. I'm going to title it Justin SPED Read Naturally. Now it's not shared with anybody. And I also want to make sure that this isn't clicked so that it's only shared with me. Otherwise, some people are going to have little attachments to that file wherever it goes. So now I've got my form here, and I want to do the same thing with my spreadsheet. So I'm going to move it out of my stuff. Again, going back through here, go to My Drive, go to Projects, we'll leave it right here. And I'm going to name it Justin, whatever it is. Share with it. Okay, we don't want to share with anybody else. So now I've got my copies of this, and now I've just got to get this set up. So I'm looking at the form first. First, you can put in any of your students' names. So you just go and you type in Justin, Drew, Sarah, whatever your students' names are that you want to be using. It's important to have it as a multiple choice, so that when you pick a student's name, it's always going to look the exact same to the sheet. That means it's going to group it off of there. If you leave it as a short answer, if you move it to a short answer and you have a space in one time you type in Justin, for example, and you don't have that space the other time you type in for Justin, it's not going to recognize it as the same person. You can also leave the other, which is where you can type that in. But again, that's where you get that issue of making sure you type it in the same every time. You can put in whatever book levels you want. This is going to require a number. So if you want to put in 2.5, 3, 3.5, whatever you might do. You could also change this to a drop down if you have a ton of them and you don't want to have a huge list of numbers. You can change it to a drop down. That'd be fine. Either way, it doesn't matter. And then you've got your cold read, hot read stuff. So you're sitting good here. Your form's set up. And then you are going to want to link it to this spreadsheet that you just made a copy of. And this is how you do that. So I go to create spreadsheet. I am not going to create a new spreadsheet. I'm going to select the existing spreadsheet that I made a copy of so that I have all the other formatting that comes with it. I'm going to find the one that I just made. And now these are the exact same. So I'm going to get rid of one of them. Now we need to just get this form so it's set up here. You can see that nothing's popping into here. Not that there's anything that could pop into there, but I can tell that this form responses is not linked to the calculated data because this part right here isn't any color. It's not reading that there's a sheet titled form responses to. So what I need to do is take the name of this sheet, form responses 3, and I could have just changed the number, but in case there's different changes, I'm going to highlight inside of these single quotes. So I'm getting just the name of it. And then I'm going to, without getting rid of that little quotation, I'm going to go Control V, paste it right in there and see how it changed colors. Now they are linked up. Then I've got my dashboard, which should be working fine since there's no students in here. Nothing's going to show up. You're going to get a bunch of errors, but as soon as I start typing in responses, I should get them. So now I can go and I can test this, preview it, say Justin 1.5. Let's say he went 25, 26, 37, and 38. Click submit, and I should see that pop up on my form responses. We're good there. It ends up in my calculated data. I've got my percentages. And then if I find Justin, this one was at 1.5. I've got the averages for here. So that's how we can get set up. If you wanted to share this form with a paraprofessional so they can type in the data, all you'd do is you would go send, type in their email, and then it would give them a non-editing version of the form. They wouldn't be able to change any of the questions or anything, but they would be able to type in information if they went to their email. So that's how you would get this form set up to make copies and have a paraprofessional type in the data to that.